Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 3 of my best tips for tomorrow's racing. Now before we get stuck into them, quickly just want to go through on how our selections performed today. In the end it was a bit of a mixed bag. Our highlight came with our Longshot at Newbury in the Betfair Hurdle, where I put up Annual Invictus at 14 to 1 each way. He ran a really respectable race and got us the place money by finishing in 4th place. I thought it was a nice run by him as he stayed on really strongly in the closing stages. He does have an entry for the Ballymore at the Cheltenham Festival. I'm not sure if Chris would want to go down that route with him, but I think if he did decide to step up and trip and have a crack at the Ballymore, I think he could definitely outrun his odds, and he could be maybe a bit of a dark horse for the race. You know, I know obviously we've got the likes of Brave Man's Game, Bob Ollinger, Gallard de Manel obviously at the top of the market for that race, but if one of them was to not turn up or run below par, I think Annual Invictus could definitely give them a run for their money. You know, definitely not one to ignore. Definitely keep him in the tracker for next time out. I think Annual Invictus could maybe go on to bigger and better things. So that's how a Longshot ran, and like I said, we got a little bit of profit with him there. The other 2 selections were disappointing. My Nap Hawthorne Cottage, I thought at one point was definitely going to at least finish in the frame. Lucy Barry gave her a fair ride, went to the front. That's the way she likes to be ridden, but in the end she just didn't have the pace to hold on to her position. I think she finished back in 5th place in the end, so that was a little bit disappointing there. And then my next best, Magic Saint, just couldn't cut it today in graded company and was very disappointing. So yeah, a bit of a mixed bag overall, and it means we did have a small loss today, but we had a good day yesterday, and hopefully we can do a little bit better tomorrow, where, like I said at the top of the video, I've got 3 tips for tomorrow's racing. So let's get into the action then. We're going to be starting off with my next best tomorrow, which runs in the 1:15 at Southwell, and I'm going to be going with a horse here called Holdbacktheriver for Adam Wedge and Evan Williams. Now this horse you can currently back at the time recording at 5 to 2, and I'm going to recommend a 1-point win bet here. Now this horse was very unlucky, I thought, last time when he fell at Chepstow. It's hard to say if he would have won, but he was travelling quite well and he was still there in contention when he fell down the home straight. So I think he was definitely in the process of running a good race, and I think he's actually got a good chance in this race tomorrow if he puts in a clean round of jumping. His penultimate start when he finished 5th at Exeter is not a bad run in the context of this race. That form's not worked out too badly. Dawson City was in that race, was winning that for us on his next start when he won the Somerset National. Also as well, you had Finest at Gorcum in there for Jimmy Frost. That horse has run a good race since, and there's a couple of others in there that have boosted the form to a degree of an extent. So yeah, a lot to like about that run at Exeter, I think, and it brings him right into this race tomorrow. Also as well, he's off a mark of 118, which I do think is still a very workable mark. He won at Chepstow last season off a mark of 117, so he's only £1 higher than his last winning mark. I just think there's lots in his favour tomorrow, and if he can get into a good rhythm under Adam Wedge, I think he could take all the beating in this race and could arguably go off a little bit shorter come post time. So Holdbacktheriver, he's going to be my next best tomorrow, and I think he's the one they have to beat in the 1:15 at Southwell. We then go to my nap of the day, which will then run in the 1:35 at Carlisle. I'm going with a horse here called Scottish Accent for Nathan Mostcrop, claiming 3, and he's riding for Rebecca Menzies. Now this horse, you can currently back him at the time recording of 10 to 3, and I thought that was actually quite a big price for this horse, as I thought he had a really strong chance. Now if we look at the profile of the horse overall, I'd say he's done pretty well so far over fences, even though he does remain a maiden, and to be fair to him, he actually remains a maiden in the whole of his career, but he has put in some really good efforts so far this season. He finished in 3rd place last time we saw him at Musselburgh, where I don't think the track would have particularly suited him. More of a speedier track, Musselburgh, speedy flat track that, like I said, just I don't think would have suited him. That race was actually won by a horse of Laura Morgan's. I think it's called Faraway. You might remember he was part of the massive gamble that day, that treble that could have got the bookmakers in a lot of trouble. He was absolutely thrown in off his mark. But subsequently, that form has turned out to be not bad, and the horse did live up to expectation because he went on to win at Fakenham a few days ago. So I don't think the form of that race is particularly bad. Also as well, you had the McNeil horse in there. I think it's called Stunning Express. I think that could be the name of it. He finished 2nd, and he ran well for a long way, you know, and I think he could be winning races, and Scottish Accent wasn't too far behind him, finishing in 3rd place. Now, if you actually go back through some of his earlier form, he ran a good 2nd at Newcastle, and also as well he's made the frame on a couple of other starts. So I think there is quite a lot to like about his chances. Also as well, I think the track at Carlisle tomorrow will definitely suit him. The stiff uphill finish I think will really come into play. He's been running over further in some of his races up to 3 miles, so I think that stamina edge should really suit him tomorrow, and I think he'll get a good prominent ride under Nathan Mosscrop. He's rated now 105, which is actually a couple pounds lower than some of his recent runs. I do think it's a very workable mark for him tomorrow, and this race is quite weak on paper, and I just thought he ticked a lot of boxes for the race, and I think, like I said, at 10-3, I think he's a fair price there, and I'll be disappointed if he couldn't break his maiden tag tomorrow. So that's going to be Scottish Accent in the 135 at Carlisle. We then go to Saville back there with my long shot of the day, which runs in the 320, where I'm going to be going with a horse here called Beauvallon Bay for Jack Quinlan and Amy Murphy. Now, this horse is going to be making his handicap debut tomorrow of a mark of 108, which I think is fairly workable. Now, if you go back and look at the last run when he finished at Fontwell in 4th place, the run has actually been boosted to somewhat of an extent because the form has been boosted. Because if you look at some of the horses that were running that day, you had the 2nd place horse. He's come out and won since for Seamus Mullins. He was a winner at Fakenham the other day off a mark of 115. And also as well, the 3rd place horse of Neil Mulholland's, I think it's called Conquerwell Legend, he's gone on to win at Sandown since then. So, yeah, it was probably a good run that day by Beauvallon Bay. Also, as well, what's interesting, if you go back and watch the race, he was staying on really strongly in the closing stages, suggesting that he really needs to step up and trip, and he's going to be getting that tomorrow. It's going to be the first time in his career he's ever stepped up to 3 miles. He's still only 5-year-old, very lightly raced, but to me, he just looks like an out-and-out stayer, and I think he could be thrown in off a mark of 108, and I know that the yard do like him. Also as well, the yard have been in really good form of late. They're operating at a 33% strike rate before today, so yeah, a lot to like about their chances, I think, tomorrow of running a very good race. And at the time recording, you can back him at 10-1. That was available with Paddy Power, who offer him 4 places on the race, and I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection to round off the day. So quickly then, let's just recap the 3 tips for tomorrow's racing. In the 115 at Saville, we go over a horse called Holdbacktheriver for Evan Williams and Adam Wedge, 5-2, 1 point win only bet. We then go to Carlisle with the nap in the 135, that's Scottish Accent, 1 point win only bet. And then in the 320 at Saville, Beauvallon Bay, 10-1 with Paddy Power, 4 places, 0.5 each way only bet. So they're the 3 tips for tomorrow's racing. If you haven't done so already and you're enjoying these videos, please remember to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe here to my YouTube channel at LuckyLoaders15. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the best place to do so is on there using my handle of at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, my website address is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please game responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and I'll be seeing you soon.